to Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner, and I am Jackie, and it's time to continue my exploring my classic shelf, and I am the last part, which is just random ones that I haven't mentioned yet. So let's start. First, actually, I do have one that is from one of the groups from before, but I think I forgot to mention it. And that is, I also have, this is also a vintage classic, I, Claudius. And I heard about this one before, and then I saw it at Gibbons and decided to buy it because I'm still kind of on my want to read as much as I can about Rome. And sometimes I feel like that something like this would be much more intriguing than a book that is just stating the facts, like that book, The Rubicon. I mean, I appreciated it and I liked it, but it was kind of like after a while I kind of got bored reading it. I almost would rather watch a documentary or something. But so I apologize for forgetting to show you guys this book. Which this is one of those ones where it's fiction, I think, but it's written like it could be nonfiction. Like it's written like this, it says from the autobiography of Tiberius Claudius, which I don't know if they would have, he would have been able to do that or not. If Claudius would be able to write an autobiography, but I think it's still considered fiction though. Like it's if he did write an autobiography, this would be it. But yeah, this is by Robert Graves. So sorry, I forgot to show you that one when I did my vintage. So okay, so I have, this is my copy of The Trial by Kafka. I would like to read some of the other books that were mentioned in the little thing in the, I don't know if it was in the back or like in the beginning, like an introduction in the beginning, where the postscripts where it talks about some of the works that were posthumously published when by Kafka's friend. His I want to get those, and I want to give Metamorphosis another chance and read that one as well. But yeah, so this one is really cool. You have the red lines, like, this face, he's looking through a window of a cell, it looks like. So I thought that was really, I think that this is a really cool looking cover. And then we have another Russian classic. So this is the one I have of Brothers Karamazov. And this is let's see, who's the publisher of this one? Faber, Farmer, Straus, and Garox. And I think the people that translated this one are the same people who my other editions, those ones that are the ones that are white, white covers with the symbols on it. I think it's the same translator. The translators of this one, because it has two names. It has Richard Pervier and Larissa Vololansky. It is an used copy, so not all of this, the way this is like I think this is my fault why this got torn off. This right here. But the rest of it, I think, was just because it's used. But I just really liked the look of this edition. You know, okay, so then we have another Russian classic. We have Dr. Zhivago. Dr. Zhivago. This is a Pantheon edition. You see right there, the Pantheon symbol by Boris Pasternak. And I believe this one was actually adapted. Well, I mean, most classics are, but a lot of people know it from, I think a lot of people know this story from the adaptation. But sometimes I think it's a little sad that, you know, in this world, there's a lot of books that people know better from their adaptations than from the original source material, the original book. So I do, and I do agree that sometimes it makes it easier if you watch the movie adaptation first, especially the older a book is, you know, because the writing would have been different back then. And sometimes there's so much going on in the story that, you know, watching an adaptation can give you the basic idea. But this one does not look that hard to read. It doesn't look a classic that, especially because this was set in 1957. Or oh no, wait, it was first published in 1957, so it was published in the 50s, so like not that long ago. But like so, and then here we have a Dover classic. I've had Dover classics editions before. So this is an interesting cover of you know, this is a ship and some old lady, like, I guess she looks like a crone, and death is looming over her. So I guess because she's getting older and she's gonna die, and I don't know if this refers to anything in the book. I'm assuming it does, but it's a very interesting cover. I'm wondering if I'm hoping this represents something in the story. I mean, it's gotta, because it's a very specific scene. It's a very specific image. So, you know, I would think it would represent something. Oh wow, so but then again, this is a Dover, and I think Dovers are some of the cheaper editions of classics, because it's $5. The original price in the US was $5, and it's $5.79. It's $5.75 in Canada. So, I mean, like I said, I'm guessing that, you know, it's a Dover edition, so, you know, I think those are cheaper ones. But that is very interesting, this cover. Ooh, this one has pictures in it. I just saw a picture. Oh, I'll have to find it again. Oh, wait. I hate it when, like, I flip through a book real quick, and then all of a sudden I'll catch, like, an image, or, like, there's something in the book, like a photograph, or, like, a piece of paper or something, and then I have to find it again. You know, and I keep missing it. But I think I did see something in here that wasn't, like, I saw a picture, and then I think I saw a little piece of paper or something in here, too. I'll have to look for it later. Actually, you know, I don't know, I might try to, you know, be like, I do gotta read the Moonstone. I'm trying, like, I have to decide between this one and the Moonstone. Which one I want to read next, because I do want to read a Wilkie. Oh, damn it, I keep missing it. It has that, I was just flipping through these, and it has that old book smell to it. Okay, so then we have my copy of Evelyn Waugh, The Brideshead Revisited. I don't know what this one is about. I've heard, people like Katie and Kate Howe mentioning this book. Katie from Books and Things and Kate Howe from constantly mentioning this. And I'm wondering, okay, so Evelyn Waugh, which Evelyn Waugh is a male. I just learned that. So, which I guess I should have addressed that. Evelyn Waugh is as they. But to me, Evelyn's a woman's name, a female name. But I guess it wouldn't be fair to assume that there's. But I guess this Evelyn Waugh has a lot of books in this edition. I guess this is their main publisher, because it has a bunch of their books in this, and I do like how each one is a different color. I might want to collect these at some point. If I read this and really like it, or at least like the writing style, then I might want to collect these. But anyway, and this is published by Back Bay Books. So I'm wondering. Okay, so he was writing. They were writing, in the early 20th century. So yeah, this is still considered a classic. So sometimes I, wonder if there's one. So yeah, this is, like I said, Back Bay Books. I like I like the design. I like the, how the name is the typography of the author's name, and the title with the title in a frame, and the wallpaper design, and that it looks like wallpaper. And this is one of those colors where, like, it's interesting. This is one of those colors where sometimes I like the color and sometimes I don't. This teal color. Like, I like it on objects, but I don't always like it on clothes. There are some clothes that I don't like, and that's partly influenced by the fact that my high school colors were orange and teal, and that after a while that get, your school colors can get annoying and you wish they were different. Like my elementary school colors I didn't like. But I think this one is really pretty. This is a really pretty cover. And like I said, it seems like all of Evelyn Waugh's books are in this type of edition, published by the same company in this edition, and they're all different colors. So if I like this, maybe I'll collect them all and read all of their books. Okay, and then these were from I think it was Christmas. It was a Christmas gift for my sister. So this is a Texan critical introduction. So I did not realize this was actually I think this might be in so this is kind of one of those more easy formats of reading her work, her collection of her previous works, her juvenilia. And it's not a specific publisher. It doesn't look like a known publisher. The name, Ray Moore. So it doesn't have any little icon, any symbol to represent a publisher. So I don't know who the publisher is, but this is Jane Austen, The Complete Juvenilia. So it's kind of it's very plain cover. I mean, they have her name and a really neat. I wonder if this is. No, I don't don't think it is. There's someone just asked me if I knew that in this type of writing, but now I can't. Calligraphy. But no, I don't think it's that. I don't know if it's that. But there's nothing on the cover. It's, it's very plain and with just the title, the author, Jane Austen, The Complete Juvenilia, and I do like the red. So if this feels like something you would, if you were taking a college class, this edition looks like something that you would, if you were taking a college class on Jane Austen, this is probably the type of book you would order. Now, I don't know how much it was. I would have to look it up, see how much it would have cost. But I don't know if it would cost a lot or not. I'd be curious. I'll have to look. But yeah, I feel like this would be the kind of book you would read in a college, you would order for a college class if you were taking a class for Jane Austen. Because it's just a very plain book, and I don't think it would, I'm guessing it wasn't that expensive. And then, oh no you don't. Sorry, the screen almost went black on me, and I wonder if that's when, once I stopped filming there, I've had to film twice these kinds of videos, and because it shows it's blank, the screen is blank. So this is Northanger Abbey, but by itself, because I know there's some editions of Northanger Abbey with the Watsons or Sanditon. But this is a Longman Cultural Edition. Pearson and Longman. Look at the little symbols of ship, a pirate ship. So this one is, it's another continuing the whole, continuing with a painting on the cover. Okay, so this does have things like, I look at the table of contents. That would be easier for me to just look at the table of contents. So this one has a bunch of illustrations in it. The romance of the plot, referring to Cupid and Psyche myth. That's not the only one I've heard for them. In fact, season 3 of Bridgerton, the one that a lot of people seem to not love, which I disagree with those people. I think it was a great season 3. And that one, that season explores Cupid and Psyche, the Cupid and Psyche romance. And then Gothic and then it has a section that's Gothic romance's sensibility and the sublime. So I'm guessing because, no, god damn it. Okay, I'll see what happens. Which I think because this particular novel by Austen kind of explores the Gothic, kind of is a parody of the Gothic literature. Okay. Okay, so next we have, I'm going to show my poetry collection. So we have, this is a, so it's not, I was thinking this would be one of the, there are certain editions that are this size that are hardback I've had 2 of them. One of them I got rid of my original copy of the red and the black I used to have, and now I only have the one with the Shakespeare, or not Shakespeare, other plays of Shakespeare's time, and they look a little bit like this, but I don't think it's not the same edition. I don't remember what that edition is called, by the way, but this is the ANC Black is the publishing company, but this is the Bronte sisters poetry. I've read a little bit of it. Not a lot. It's kind of cute. It's a little pocket. It's a pocket-sized book. And like I said, I've read some of the poems in here. See if there's anything in here other than the poetry, like notes and stuff. I mean, there is an introduction. No. Oh, no, you don't. So I don't think there's anything in this one. But this is a really cute, very small, pocket size. Like, and the dust jacket is coming off. And this one came with a little... This one actually had a bit of a bookmark. Let me get in this way. And then I have 2 copies, which they're both my sister because she actually kind of forgot that she already gave me some Emily Dickinson. But maybe these are different. Maybe they have more poems. So this is selected poems, which it's funny because this one is thicker. But this is Park Lane Press. Again, another one of those ones where it's a pretty color. There is a little bit of design up here. There's borders it. And then the person's name. There's like no images on the cover. But it's still, you know, nice colors, and it seems so easy. Like, I look at poetry, it like seems like, because they're very, you know, it's not a lot to read. It's, you know, but it's just like, it's not my, I'm still kind of easing myself into it. Okay, so this is, it does not, Pantheos? I don't know what that, Pantheonos, I don't know what publishing company, I'm not familiar with that publishing company. But this supposedly is a complete collection of her poems, which again, I'm sorry, because this one is physically thicker, but then this one might have notes or something. No, it doesn't even have, I mean, all that stuff in the front. I'm curious why. Okay, so I guess that's why I'm not familiar, because it says Park Lane Masters of Poetry. So maybe this one is like these publishing companies who publish these 2. They're only known for publishing poetry. This is also apparently, which I like that this is organized into like life, love, nature, time, eternity. Okay, so in the single hound. So the index of the first lines. So that's really all this has. And there's an introduction in this one. But then I feel like because, of course, poetry is all about how you kind of interpret it. Which, I mean, literature in general, you interpret it how you will, but I feel like, you know, the literature, regular, you know, literature that isn't poems, like actual novels and stuff, you have room for taking notes and having a bunch of notes and sections and stuff and explain. The same thing with plays, but with poetry, I guess you can't really, like, you can talk about the poet. But yeah, it's interesting that this book is physically thicker, while this one is very thin, and although her poems don't seem that long. But anyway, so I really want to get to poetry, but I still haven't yet, because I haven't gotten myself into the habit. I need to get myself into the habit of reading poetry. Okay, so okay, now we have my 2 Kurt Vonnegut's. Dial Press is the publishing company. So again, this is another one where the author has their own publisher. there's like a certain publisher who publishes their books. Although I should look up this company and see, do they only publish these, or have they published other authors? But I like how each one is a different color. Has a different color scheme to it. The spines are still all the same color, orange, I think. I would have to look at all of them at Books A Million, if they're still all there. And then his name and the titles are all the same, all have that same, typography. And they kind of have like these hand-drawn, the covers look very cartoonish, hand-drawn covers of an important image that represents the story. Like, this is a snake, and because it's an island that they're going to, which I have not started reading this one yet, but I know from the back description. And then this one has a clock. I'm trying to remember where the clock is referenced in the book. Okay, so I'm wondering if this image of this person, this drawing of the guy smoking, I think it's a guy, in the like, what looks like is that a signature of them? Or, maybe is it a woman? Because the hair is curling. It looks like they have an earring. I don't know, but I'm guessing this is the pointed nose. So I'm wondering if this is supposed to be Kurt Vonnegut, like a sketch of himself that he made, because this one also has it. So I'm wondering if he like sketched himself and now everyone puts it on all of his books of this particular edition. Which, I mean, I can't really explain it, but I do feel like the cover design does fit the types of books that these are. Okay, and then we have one of my first modern library editions. Let me see if I can grab the other one. Okay, so here's here is my three of my modern library editions. I don't know if I have any more in this pile, but we have. What I like about these two is they look like watercolors. Especially this one. This is Great Expectations. Again, this was another one of those ones where I had a different copy of it. First I had a mass market, then I think I had something else before that. After the mass market. And then I finally got this one. Although no, I might have only had the mass market first. Because that might have been the one I read it from. The first time I read this book. But I like that it's a watercolor. And what's interesting is the introduction is George Bernard Shaw, and I think that's the same guy. Yeah. So that's interesting. The guy who wrote the play Pygmalion did an introduction of this novel by Dickens, Great Expectations. And I think the cover works. First of all, the watercolor design is really pretty, and also along with the blue, the different shades of blue, and then it looks like this must be Pip looking at a house of a rich person. So I think these are really, this is pretty. And then we have this one of Moby Dick. I don't know why I don't like this one. I mean, it's interesting that this one has like green and yellow because it looks like a chalk. Looks like a chalk design. A painting, but the colors of chalk that are common. So you have, this is the image of the whale and a boat. The whale is diving back to the water. Moby Dick being the whale. But yeah, this is I like how the symbol of modern library editions is like a dancer. Because when you think of modern, you think of modern dance. And then the last one is not, this one's a little different. I think these are older modern library editions. This with the brown spine. I used to have another book in this edition, other books. Booth Turkington. But yeah, this is, the cover is actually, I think it's what you would see in a Dickens novel originally, like a sketch. The types of sketches that you would see in Dickens novels. 1917 is when this publishing company started, so maybe this is, I'll have to look up that. I'd be curious about that, like how many times do they change their aesthetic for modern libraries, different editions. Is it a modern library? Okay, so I don't know what, it's not modern, it's Meridian. I'm not familiar with this company, but this is my edition of the Sophocles Oedipus, the Sophocles plays, the Oedipus cycle. So you have Oedipus the King, Oedipus Aclonius, and Antigone. I'm glad I actually know how to say that. For the longest time, I thought it was Antigone. And whenever I think of, when I see, I never know how to spell, like how to say the words that start with COLO, because, you have Colonel, which is not, the way it's spelled is not how you say it. At least, I don't think so anyway, but, this is another one that I feel like there's Lysistrata, but also this is another one I'm keep meaning to pick up. So I'm wondering if I should pick up this one first and then go back to the Antiphanes plays. But I just gotta decide and pick some of my ancient literature, start reading it like now. So this is more, I don't know if I have any other Midian published books, but this has an appendix. There's a foreword, an introduction, and then you have the 3 plays, and then you have the appendix, which consists of the production and acting notes, glossary, classical names. Oh, I need to look at that, and acknowledgments. I like it when they have a glossary, because, even in modern fantasy, sometimes you don't know how the author intended you pronounce a name, and it's nice when they have a glossary. That's why my parents won't read certain while they would never, Harry Potter, for instance, they will never read that book, because, they actually did try to read it with, they did try to read it, because I want my nephews to read it, because, because I still think it's a good story, by the way. But anyway, so they wouldn't read when I was into that series, they would not read it, because they thought they would be confused and have a hard time with names and stuff like that. But, although some of those, not all those names are all that hard. Like Ron and Harry. That's not a hard name. But there are names like Dumbledore and Hermione and all that are. But I think ancient names are harder to say. And I think Russian names. But then again, my dad, he's been, he used to travel a lot. And he's been to, so he knows other cultures and how to say their names and stuff like that. So, but yeah, this is like ancient. It's orange, a rust orange color, and then there's kind of like the style of artwork that in ancient Greece. Like where you see that with, in the Disney movie Hercules or Heracles. Okay, now we have a Signet Classic, which I used to have these because Signet Classics were often in mass market form. So this is the first time I've ever seen a Signet Classic this size. And this has the French flaps, which those mass markets do not have that. And I do not see the French flaps, but then, you know, mass markets are made very cheaply. You know, they're the books that you order for college. This was manufactured. So Signet, I wonder, I guess Signet is a Canadian publishing company? Because it says manufactured in the where you scan, it says manufactured in Canada. So I'm guessing Signet Classics is a Canadian publishing company, which I'll check that. But it has the French flaps. It's this pretty red color. There's the letter A that Hester had to wear. I like the French flaps. I know not everybody does. Although I think a lot of people hate the deckle edges more than the French flaps. I do think French flaps are good for, like, if you don't have a bookmark and if the book's not too thick, you could use the French flaps to mark where you left off. But I don't think it works as easily if the book is like a chunkster, like, you know, Moby Dick or something. I don't think the French flaps would work. Let's see, what does this one have? Okay, so it has something like a section on the life and times of Nathaniel Hawthorne, the author. It has an introduction, and then the story, and then you have endnotes with the stories that are based on the book. Which I wonder when this came out, because now, you know, because they also have that that movie, what's it called? The A or something? The A, I cannot remember what it's called. The one, it's A something. That is based off of this. Let me see. There's a. Okay, so they talk about the. It doesn't say. Okay, so I'm trying to. Okay, so it doesn't say. So I don't know when this. Yeah, so this might have been published before that movie came out. Which I cannot believe I can't think of it, because it's probably such a simple title. Like A something. But it is really pretty. And then we have the Forsyte Saga by James Galsworthy, or John Galsworthy. And this has a, like, kind of a, I think this is like a painting on the cover, which I guess that's a common thing to use for classics. Just, you know, just use a painting for the cover that might represent what's going on in the story. So this is reading group. Okay, so this has a reading group guide. So, you know, I guess it has like a, you know, questions and stuff, discussion questions in this book, and I think. So I think this is all the books in one big book. Oh, Scribner. So this is published by Scribner, which I think Scribner is the same people that published a lot of Stephen King's books. So Scribner is still around. So it looks like it has a preface. Yeah, I guess because the story, they gotta publish the whole story, so they didn't have room for for extra stuff. They just have a preface. But yeah, I think this is all the novels from the Forsyte Saga in this one big book, which is why I got it. But you can tell it's used. Yeah, so it has The Man of Property in Chancery and To Let. Indian Summer of a Forsyth and Awakening. Okay, so there's those. Okay, and then we have, okay, so, which this is the same edition that was for the Native Son, that copy that my sister has that I borrowed temporarily to check out if I was interested in that one. But this is Perennial Classics. So we have Giants in the Earth, which it has the kind of the paint, the cover, the cover image takes up the whole thing. You have the title, then you have, okay, so the author, I don't know how to say the name, I'm not going to attempt it, and then the edition right on here, and then there's a little, okay, so they don't really have much of an, they just have the picture of the author, and then the year they were born with, and what other books that they have written. So there's not much of a description of the author. And the same thing with this one. This one is kind of more of a burgundy color. This Giants in the Earth, which is a saga, like a family saga. And then we have Doris Lessing, which I think she's a more recent author. I mean, this one he might be more, well, he was born in 17, okay, so he died in the 30s, and then this is, so this, I guess, is an early 20th century, okay, so this one actually has more on the author. Okay, so they're around the same time frame. Or they've been around at the same time. So early 20th century, Doris Lessing, which I recently, I think it was Tristan Classics, mentioned Doris Lessing as a female author that people don't know a lot about. So this is the Golden Notebook. And this one is so, I mean, it's going to be a sad book, I feel like, but, you know, but it's like, I think her memory, from what I remember the back description, I think this woman's memory is going, and she has all these different color notebooks that she keeps, you know, they each are a different aspect of her life. And the goal, she wants to put it all in one big book. But this is Harper Perennial, which, oh, I actually had an Harper book, and I wonder if I should have shown you guys, I mean, it's too late now, but I have another Harper Perennial, I think, that I didn't take off the shelf because I didn't know if it would count, or if I should count it or not. And then I also have a, there's another type of edition that I just thought of, but now it's like totally slipped my mind just now. But these I think are really, these are really cool too. These, again, I actually, some of these, I think it's more that I just like how a uniform they are, how, you know, they're each, like, they have a certain aesthetic to them, and they have their little symbol, and, you know, it's kind of fun to collect those when it comes to classics, and just seeing how many you can get, how many editions. But that's kind of hard because, like, if you shop in a used bookstore, you're not going to necessarily find all of a certain edition. And then if you go to, like, a chain bookstore like Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, it's going to cost a little bit more. So, but it's kind of fun to collect them when you can. But, so these are the perennials that I have. And then we have, so this is the other perennial. Oh, so this is another perennial. Now, this one is a little different, though. It's a little different perennial. So we have, you know, it doesn't have that same border design on it. So I didn't realize this was also a Harper perennial. But this one, okay, so what's really annoying about this one is the summary, the description is very brief of what this book is about, and it has mostly blurbs on it, which is really annoying because it's like, it doesn't, they assume because it's a classic and, it has all these blurbs from all these famous authors, you're gonna automatically want to read it and enjoy it. And to me, it's like, that's annoying because that's no guarantee. Not everyone trusts in blurbs just because even if it's a Stephen King blurbed a book and said it was great, or George R. R. Martin blurbed a book and said it was great, or, Octavia Butler blurbed a book, that's not necessarily a guarantee that someone is going to love that book and want to automatically buy it. Believe it or not, people actually look at the descriptions and read the back and want to find out get the description of what the book is about. Now, this one does have a blurb on it, though. Does have a little tiny description. But so this is a little, so I didn't know if it was the same thing. It was a Harper Perennial, but this one, unlike those, it doesn't have that border design, and it has the title and the author's name, but it's not right here, it's right up here. And then we have the title with it's a green, it's a lot of greens and gray color. So yeah, it's a little different than the Harper Perennial. Than the other two Harper Perennials. That's why I didn't know that they were the same. Okay, so I get 2 more books to show you guys. So we have Simon and Schuster. Oh, wait, so I guess this one doesn't really count. A lot, as a classic. I just grabbed it thinking it was, but I guess it doesn't really count. Yeah, so this one doesn't. So I guess it's Lonesome Dove. I think in a way it is a classic, but it would be more recent, a more modern classic. Not modern as in modern library, but modern for us. I think this could potentially be a classic, and other people, you could have different editions of it if the author wants it, or or maybe nowadays, maybe a lot of the modern books will not all of them will have different editions. So yeah, this is not a classic. I just grabbed this one thinking it was. So this technically doesn't count, but it does. I do feel like it's a classic. It could potentially become a classic. Okay, so now on to so really we only have one more to show you, and that is my newest edition. And the only reason why I bought it, I didn't buy it at Books, I got it given. So that's the only reason why I ended up buying it, because it would be $4 by itself. But so this is a Scribner edition. It is the 75th anniversary edition. So my original mass market was a 50th anniversary edition, I want to say. It might have been 75, just a different cover, but I know that I do believe that one was also an anniversary edition, which I guess I could look it up. But this is really pretty. It just has the title, but it has a certain old-fashioned look to the title with these vines and this image on the bottom, the small image on the bottom of a soldier, and which I wonder if this image is supposed to be Scarlett and her 2 men. Ashley Wilkes, which I guess Ashley's most people think of Ashley as a girl name, but no, it's used in a male character. So I guess it's one of those names that, just in case Fred does they, if someone is named Ashley. And then Rhett Butler. And I guess that's Scarlett. With the gold, and I always I find the navy blue color really pretty, and like I said, you guys know, you've already seen my other edition of the book, which is a hardback edition, that it was my mom's copy that was given to her by my grandmother. I think it was a birthday gift, so I still have it. Which I wonder if I should just put it downstairs. Just, you know, damn it. Maybe I should put it downstairs, just see if, you know. Let's see if this, I don't think this really has, okay, so it doesn't look like it has anything, you know, because, I mean, it's a long book. There's, okay, so there's a, you know, about the author, but most books have that. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, oh, so there's a preface. Oh, and here's a picture of there's a picture. I wonder if this is Margaret Mitchell, this portrait. I wonder if this is a picture of Margaret Mitchell. So there's a preface. Let's see, I'm going to see if there's anything else in this. And of course the preface is really long. Okay, so I guess that's all this one has is a preface. Which, it's like, if you're gonna make if you're gonna make an anniversary edition, shouldn't you do a little bit more? I feel like a little more, like maybe notes or something on the book, not just a preface. And you know, what is interesting is that, so Greg from Supposedly Fun has been reading Pulitzer Prize winners for years now. He has a series of videos where he talks about them, and he talked about this particular book in, I think he did a review, I imagine, and also talk about that this one deserved to win. That's what he does. He will decide if, in his opinion, if the ones that won the Pulitzer, did they deserve it? Or was there other books that deserved it more? And he's been trying to read all the books on the Pulitzer Prize list. Or all the winners. And, you know, he talked about how the controversies behind books like this, how this one, there's aspects of this book that today would be considered racist, or, you know, it's a really interesting video. I should see, you know, maybe I'll put the link in the description to talk about this video. And some of these other classics might be on there. Might be on this list. Like, the American ones, anyway. Because the Pulitzer Prize, I think, is an American prize. It's always, like, whenever, as I'm doing these videos, I look and I'm like, oh, I want to read that one. Oh, I want to reread that one. And Gone with the Wind will be on reread. So that, I think, is all my classics. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I have seen some comments from people that sounds like they enjoy them. And I hope this inspires you to pick up some of these classics. I mean, not that I really did most of them I did not describe what they're about, but, you know, maybe the look of them, the aesthetic might inspire you, because I know a lot of people do, you know, aesthetic does kind of help you decide, you know, because let's face it, you know, we live in a society where, like, a look of something, you know, aesthetics really can be a motivator. I know we want to not be shallow and prioritize the look of something over the content, but sometimes, yeah, the aesthetic of the outside aesthetic is the first thing you see with the book. That's the first thing you see. So even if we don't like it, you know, we're annoyed by that and find it shallow, you know, it's not going to change, because we literally see the cover design of the book first thing, or at least the spine. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed these videos, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye!